I chose to do my report on the amazing and phenomenal architect Frank Gehry. This is a little bit about Frank's story. Frank Gehry was born on February 28, 1929 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He was born into a Jewish and Polish family under the name of Frank Owen Goldberg. When Gehry was a young kid, he developed his love for architecture in his grandfather's hardware store. He would use a lot of the materials lying around the store to build a variety of things, which sparked his architectural touch at a young age. When Gehry was older, in about 1949, he moved to California, more particular Los Angeles, to continue his education at the University of Southern California while working a variety of different jobs. A few years later, in 1956, he moved to Massachusetts with his wife, Anita Snyder, and he enrolled at the Harvard's graduate school. Shortly after, he dropped out of Harvard and divorced his wife. They had 2 daughters together. A few years later, in 1975, Gehry got married again to Isabel Aguilera, which he had 2 more children with. After being remarried and dropping out of school, Gehry returned to California and started his Easy Edges cardboard furniture line. He used the money from his successful line to build his fancy home in Santa Monica. This was when Gehry's career grew tremendously. After his years of hard work, he finished his career at a variety of universities, including Yale, Columbia University, and the University of Southern California. One famous prize that he is known for winning over the years is the 1989 Pritzker Prize, which is an annual award honoring a living architect. Here's a little bit about Frank's work. His first piece of art is the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles, California. Looking at a lot of his works, it's kind of amazing to figure out how he did all of it. I mean, just the shapes of his buildings, it's interesting to try and figure out kind of the bones of the buildings underneath what you see with your own eyes. A little more about the Walt Disney Concert Hall. This project was opened in 2003. This project was under build for many years. It was first proposed in 1988. A lot of people and critics think that the wait was worth it. Gehry is a big fan of sailing, so this building was kind of built to reflect his love for sailing. This next piece is the Neuer Zollhof in Dusseldorf, Germany. This building was made in 1999. This work transformed the waterfront property of Dusseldorf into what is now called Media Harbor. This work of Gehry started the building of many similar buildings by other architects in Dusseldorf. Here is Gehry's house that is in Santa Monica, California. Gehry designed this house in 1978 for himself and his family to move into. Like I said earlier, he used the money from his Easy Edges business to help remodel this house. This is one of Gehry's first projects that brought fame to his career. In 2012, this house won the American Institute of Architecture's prestigious 25-year award. One thing that I like about this house is that it's definitely unique. There's not a lot of normal shapes that you would see in any other house that are present here. This next build of Gehry's is the Olympic Fish Pavilion in Barcelona, Spain. I feel like this is a work that you have to be up close to understand how big it truly is. This building was built in 1992 for the Olympic Village in Barcelona. The reason it was designed like it is to commemorate a recent breakthrough in architecture 3D design technology. The whole structure is created from golden steel, kind of in a mesh pattern. This next piece of work is the Wiseman Art Museum in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This may be one of Gehry's closest pieces of art or architecture to Sioux Falls. This building was built in 1993 and can be found on the University of Minnesota campus. The steel peaks on this building were designed to overlook the Mississippi River, which runs right through the middle of the campus. This inspired a Gehry designed expansion that was concluded in 2011 up in the Minneapolis area. This next piece, the Dancing House in Prague, Czech Republic, is actually one of my favorite pieces of Gehry's. It almost looks like it's not even like a real building. It seems to have somewhat of a cartoon kind of characteristics to it. This Dutch insurance company, Nationale Nederlanden, owns this building. This building is also known as Fred and Ginger because of its two towers, which almost look like a couple dancing. This 1997 build was collaboration work of Gehry and a local architecture in the Czech Republic named Vlado Milunik. This build is one of Gehry's most famous pieces of architecture. It's found in Bilbao, Spain, and is known as the Guggenheim. This building was created in 1997, and its curving stone, glass, and titanium structure is made to curve like the Nervion River. This art museum is one of the projects that caused Gehry's credibility to explode. While this structure was built, it wasn't noticed by the media, which made its opening even more grand. This next build is known as the DZ Bank building in Berlin, Germany. In Germany, there's local building codes, especially in Berlin, that prohibit any building from being shinier than the Brandenburg Gate. Gehry responded by creating this limestone facade. It's a stainless steel conference room attached as well. It was created in the year 2000. This is the IAC building in New York, New York. This building was constructed in 2007 for the Interactive Corp headquarters. The 9-story building was Gehry's first major glass structure. It was intended to have a sailboat-like design. Crews bent all of the materials on site to capture the swelling effects of the sailboat would have. As you can see, it somewhat looks like a sailboat. I'm not very good on my French, so I don't know how this last one will go, but I believe that's the Cinématique Française in Paris, France. This was built by Gehry and opened in 1994. It was built to be the American Center of Paris, but it only was open for about 18 months. Then in 2005, it became a theater and archive for film history. Gehry had a lot of impressive works, and it's amazing how many different things of his can be found all around the world.